Hello, I'm David Hunt, owner of GameMasters Guild, and I'd like to welcome you back to another episode of Lorcana, Not the Meta. And what I try to do is I try to build decks that aren't necessarily in what's called the meta, which is what happens when a card game is played long enough. Even in the very beginning, a meta can start to develop, which means there are certain decks that are highly viable in a competitive arena. But I'm trying to avoid that and just play stuff that I like, I think's cool, and make certain combos come together. Now, inevitably, there are only 2 expansions, so there's a lot of cards that you're going to see, a lot of combos you're going to see that are part of the meta. But also, too, you're going to see some stuff that you're like, why are you playing that? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because I just want to play what I want to play, and I enjoy it. And you should, too. Don't worry about it. If you want to adjust your deck and play more towards the meta, man, by all means, do it. But don't feel pressured. If you want to play your deck how you want to play it, man, play it. If you want to do nothing but low-cost stuff like I do, knock yourself out. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at a version of my red tape deck. I did a video a few episodes back. Might have been the last episode. I'm not exactly sure where it falls in my list. But I did an episode with my deck called Red Tape, and it was a amber. And no, I'm sorry. It was a ruby and emerald deck, and it plays really well, and I like it. And of course, I've had a lot of playtesting with that deck, and I'm really happy with it. And I've given it some table time. But now I have a version of that. I set all my emerald cards aside, and I went and grabbed some amethyst, and I threw it together to see exactly how it would play. Basically, I'm going for a lot of Madame Mim stuff, and I'm mixing up a lot of my Aladdin stuff where you lose lore and all that. And I really want to see how it works. And I tried it. I only played it a couple times. I'm kind of on the fence with it. The second time I played it was a little bit better. I still didn't win with it either time, but it's pretty cool, and let's at least take a look at it. I will probably revert this back to how it was originally with the emerald in there and take the amethyst out, but let's take a look and see what I've got. So first up, we've got all my 1-cost stuff, and some of these will be familiar. Got Sergeant Tibbs. He's a 1-cost inkable, 2/2, and he quests for 1 lore. Good solid character. Chip, same thing. He's Mr. Tibbs, but in a cup form. 1-cost inkable, 2/2, quest for 1 lore. Oh, look, there's some more Mr. Tibbs. I did not organize my cards before doing this video. That's okay. Okay, then I've got a Olaf. I got a friendly snowman in there. He's a 1-cost inkable, 1/3, quest for 1 lore. And I did this mostly so that way I just got a lot of stuff I can get out early game. And that's really important because you really don't want to just sit there and do nothing early game unless you got something sneaky up your sleeve. As you can see, I've got a couple of 1-cost inkable reflections. It's an action. It's a song. Character with cost 1 or more can exert themselves to sing the song for free. And I look at the top 3 cards of my deck, get to put them back on top of my deck in any order. Not as useful as some other cards that are out there, but at least you get to stack your deck for those top 3 cards, especially if you see something really nice that's coming up. Like in this deck, I'm going to be looking for like Shere Khan and Aladdin, but you'll see those in a little bit. All right, so now for my 2-cost inkables. Let's see. Yeah, I guess I might have organized this a little bit. All right, so Madame Mim, 2-cost, 3/3, questing for 1 lore, and when I play her, I have to banish her or return another chosen character of mine to my hand. Man, this is a great card. This makes me feel like I'm playing Magic. All right, so I got to place it because for 2-cost, I got to have her. And Lady Tremaine, 2-cost, uninkable. She's a 2/2, quest for 1 lore. But when I play this character, each opponent with more lore than me loses 1 lore. So I can play her. They lose a lore. Play Madame Mim, bounce her back to my hand, and if I got enough, I can play her again in the same turn. Very nice. And I've got, this time around, I've got 4 Lady Tremaines in here. I also have Go the Distance, which is a 2-cost inkable. It's a song, it's an action. And this character can be, a character with cost 2 or more can exert themselves to sing the song for free, which I could do that with Madame Mim, I could do it with Lady Tremaine, and absolutely get this song out there if I don't have enough ink to get it out. And I already chosen damaged character of mine, and they can't quest for the rest of the turn, draw a card. And this works really well with Mother Golful. She's a 2-cost inkable. She's a 3/4, so she's a pretty heavy hitter. She only quests for 1 lore, but this character enters play with 3 damage on her. You might say, well, she's not too good, but she's a 3/4 for only 2. In other decks where you could heal her, this is a good card. And I don't mind so much because she's pretty strong. I got 2 of her in the deck. It's not a problem. Yeah, only 2 of her. And it's nice because I can take out bigger characters. Plus, if I do quest with her, let's say I get her out into play as she dries, the next turn I quest with her, then I can use Go the Distance to throw her back in my hand, play her again, and now she's unexerted. She's in the ready position, so now it's harder for people to take care of her. But it's pretty easy for her to take her out with some direct damage like fire the cannons and such. All right, we've got 2 of her. We've got Gaston. He's reckless. I threw him in there to be reckless. He's a 2-cost inkable, 4/2. That's pretty much it. He can't quest and must challenge each turn if able. I got Lefau. He's a 2-cost inkable, 2/2, quest for 1. When I play this character, I ready chosen character. They can't quest for the rest of the turn. Again, I use him a lot with Mother Golful. Not too bad. But he's probably better paired with a lot of other characters. Jiminy Cricket, 2-cost inkable, 1/2. He's evasive, so only characters with evasive can challenge him. And he can quest for 1 lore, and when I play this character, if I have a character named Pinocchio in play, I may draw a card. This would be great if I had Pinocchio. I'm not sure about how this deck's going to be, so I didn't get Pinocchio. And honestly, it's just kind of something I threw in because of evasive. This is something you have to watch out for when building your decks, is cards that you underutilize. I can't use half of this character's ability because I don't have the other half of this. So that's something you want to remember and you want to watch out for. Make sure if you have a card in your deck that you can fully utilize the card to its maximum ability, that you have the capability to. See, I don't have Pinocchio anywhere in this deck, so half of this card is useless. I like him because he's cheap, he gets out there, and he's evasive. And plus, it's kind of a test build. I really don't want Pinocchio. I don't know why, I just didn't want to put him in there because I want other cards in there to see how they work, and it's just not working out for me. Next I have Tangle. It's an action, 2-cost, inkable. Each opponent loses 1 lore. Good for those multiplayer games, which have suddenly started popping up in my store. I got roped into a 6-player one, and then I saw like last week, and then there was a 5-player one I got wrapped up into. Or not, I didn't get wrapped up into, I'm sorry, but I saw a 5-player one going on today. But that's cool. That's nice that people are already starting to do big multiplayer games, because that's just another fun way to play with your friends. It really is. All right, let's take a look at this other stack of cards I got here. Oh, yeah, Shere Khan. 3-cost inkable, 3/3, quest for 1 lore, and whenever one of your characters challenges another character, you gain 1 lore. I love this because all I have to focus on is trying to get rid of the other guy's characters because I'm questing for a lore. And when Shere Khan comes out, he's a target. And of course, no doubt, I have 4 of them in my deck. He works a lot better when he paired up with some Emerald stuff. But, man, he's really good. Shere Khan, I can't believe he's a 3-cost. It's just really good. I think so. And, man, with more cards coming down the pipe, coming out real soon, man, it's just going to get better, I think. Maleficent, 3-cost. 3-cost inkable. She's a 2/2. Quest for 1 lore. When I play this character, I can draw a card. Again, this is a great card because when you play her, you get to replenish her, basically. You know, I play Maleficent, have 1 less card in my hand. I get to draw, keep my hand full. That's what you want. You want cards in hand. You always want options. And I got a play set of her. Madam Mim as the Fox. 3-cost inkable, 4/3. She's a heavy hitter. She can take out a lot of even more troublesome characters. Quest for 1 lore. And when you play this character, banish her or return another chosen character of yours to your hand, plus rush. She can challenge a turn that she's played. So that's great. Man, I can get her out there on the field. I can bounce Maleficent back. I can play her again, get to draw my card. And since she's got rush, let's go. Let's take out another character. What a great card. What a great card. Got a couple of her in there. Let me see if I got a... Yep, just got 2 of her right now. I don't know. I thought I had a playset, but I guess I don't. Again, this is just kind of a test deck. If you're playing Amethyst, man, you're definitely power playing these cards. Okay, so Aladdin, this is part of my red tape. Well, like I said, half this deck is my red tape deck. 3-cost Inkable, 2/2, quest for 1 lore, and whenever I play this character, each opponent loses 1 lore. That's why I've got all the Madam Mims. That's why I've got Madam Mim as Snake. Where is she in here? She's somewhere in here. There she is. And then I've got Madam Mim the Fox because they can bounce another character, and that would be Aladdin. Because I want that repetitive, you know, I'm basically taxing you, as Jamie would say. And I guess he's my arch nemesis, something like that. He's my nemesis. So anyways, I like it because both of them can bounce him back to my hand, boop, and I can play him again to lose more lore and to tax you on that lore that you have. Got place out of him, of course. Arthur's. Oh, man. 3-cost uninkable, but he's so worth it. He's a 1/3. He can quest for 1 lore, and whenever this character quests, you can return another chosen character of yours to your hand, which I'd probably choose Aladdin, and in order to gain 2 lore. And then next turn, I'm playing him, but if I got enough ink this turn, I'm playing Aladdin. Friends on the other side. 3-cost inkable. A character with cost 3 or more can exert themselves to sing this song for free. Draw 2 cards. Again, keeping cards in hand so I have options. Especially if someone destroys your Arthur, or both of them. If you've got enough, you can play Friends on the other side and see if you can find your other Arthurs. Arthur is really great. So you kind of see what I'm going for here. I'm trying to take something that, you know, was already kind of tried and true, and I was trying to put a new spin on it because I like taking lore from my opponent and not have to worry about really questing myself. And I thought that was pretty cool. Merlin, 4-cost inkable, 4/3. Merlin as the goat. And quest for 1 lore. And again, from one of my episodes, I covered this. I can think it was the Amethyst and Steel deck I've got. Queen's Gambit, yep. And anyways, comes into play, I gain a lore. If I quest, I gain a lore. If he leaves play, I gain a lore. So if I play him, I gain a lore. If I play Madam Mim as the Snake, I bounce him back. And when he leaves play, I get a lore. And then if I have enough ink, I can play him again. It's 3 lore. It's crazy. And if someone eliminates him, if someone challenges him, like if I go and I challenge another guy, another character, and let's say he's tough enough to banish Merlin, well, I still get a lore. And even if not, even if someone else purposely wants to come and get rid of him, I still get a lore. Merlin is such a good card, especially paired with Madam Mim. I think Madam Mim is going to be around a long time. There's a lot of cool things you can do with her, and especially with this 3rd set coming up. I think there's going to be some neat cards you can probably use with her. All right, so let's see. Getting to my 5-cost. Not so sure about some of these. Donald Duck, 5-cost inkable. He's a 1/5, so he's super solid. He can really hold his own against a lot of other characters. Evasive, so only characters with evasive can challenge him, which adds to his survivability. Plus, he goes for 1. He can quest for 1 lore. Plus, this character gets +1 lore for each damage on him. So even if someone doesn't put damage on him, man, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna challenge your Aladdin. Put 2 damage on him. Now suddenly I'm questing for 3 lore, just like that. And if I have, let's say, Fire the Cannons in my deck, I don't, but I do. I could use Fire the Cannons on my own character to put damage on him. So when he quests, there you go. Now, he's questing for more lore because I damaged him. And since he's got evasive, that other player better have evasive characters in order to get him, or else they're not going to be able to. So this is pretty cool. I want to build a different deck using Donald Duck and maybe using that idea of doing damage to him in order to make his lore count higher and still have cards that I can hit the other player with and eliminate their characters. Next up, I have Mulan. 5-cost inkable. She's a 4/5, quest for 1, and during my turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, your characters get +1 lore this turn. So, man, if I take out somebody with her, everybody gets +1 lore this turn. All I got to do is swing, hit for 1, and since she's 4/5, she can take a lot of damage. I have played this game before with her, and I'll do it like 2 turns back to back before she's worn down enough where someone is going to come and take her out, either with some kind of direct damage through like an action, song, something like that. an artifact like the Plasma Blaster or Robin Hood or something like that, or just challenge her outright. But she's good. I like it. And this deck is pretty good. I think what doesn't work so much is some of these cards, my cost mix is a little different than what I have when it's Ruby and Emerald, so I think that kind of throws it off. But anyways, she's a really, really good card, and I like her. I might get a third one to round out this deck. I'm not sure how I feel. I might take out these Donalds and just get 2 more of her. I think. I'm not sure yet. All right, so let's look at the last little bit I've got. I've got Rapunzel, uninkable for 6. I think she's worth it, though, at least when it's running Emerald and Ruby. In this deck, not so much. She's a 5/4, quest for 2 lore, love it. And when I play this character, each opponent loses 1 lore. Again, I'm taxing you on that lore every single time. It's really, really good. And oh, my last card, I only got 3 Rapunzels. I have Aladdin snuck up on me. He's a 7-cost inkable. He's a 5/5, quest for 2 lore, shift 5, so I can pay 5 to play this on top of one of my characters named Aladdin. So this 3 cost, I can pay 5, get him out there. And during your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, I gain 2 lore, and each opponent, great for multiplayer games, each opponent loses 2 lore. I like him, but I'm kind of somewhere, I'm not sure if I think I have to build a deck kind of around this 7-cost Aladdin to really make it worth that, I think. And I almost feel like I have to do just a straight Ruby deck to make this work, or just make sure I take enough cards to get this guy and make sure I've got some other Aladdins in there. Maybe a steel deck. Steel deck has a lot of Aladdins, so maybe a Ruby and steel deck. That might be pretty good, because there's like an Aladdin that's like a 2-cost. He's like a 2/1 and he quests for 2, so that would pair really good with this, I think. Just because that Aladdin comes out, quest for 2 already, he's already quested for a lot of lore, and I get him out quick, and as soon as I get this guy, man, 5. Usually it's not too hard to get 5. When you start hitting 7, unless you're doing some kind of ramp deck where you're getting more ink, I just don't know how viable this is. To me, anyways, for what I'm doing, for what I'm playing. All right, and that is it for my kind of experimental Ruby and Amethyst deck. Again, not super crazy about its performance. Then again, I played 2 games, and already I'm super critical. After the first game, I was like, I don't know what's wrong with this deck, Jamie. I don't know, man. I don't know. But in the same breath, I also said, well, I did only just play it once. That's really not a fair assessment of a deck when you play it once, lays up on you. And also, too, if the other guy has a great start in hand, I mean, this deck is going to seem way worse than what it really is. I played it a second time, started to like it a little bit more, saw some things I could probably do without and streamline, but a lot of times that's how deck building goes. You got to have an idea. I had an idea, and I literally pulled out one chunk and I mishmashed it basically I took 2 different decks apart, mishmashed it together, just to try something different to see if I like it. And again, I'm not looking to be competitive, but I'm looking to be competitive enough to have fun, to feel like I'm actually playing the game when I'm playing the game. I want to get through some of my deck. I want to be a worthy adversary. Even if I lose, I want to be a worthy adversary and, man, have that back and forth. And I get that with a lot of the decks that I've been playing. But this one, I wasn't so sure. I think I was just trying to make it something that it wasn't. So I'm not sure. Maybe some of that was from Merlin, because when I get Merlin the Goat, I want to start trying to gain that lore instead of just, concentrate on Shere Khan and Mulan, and that's what I'm using to get my extra lore. So maybe he's kind of a wrench, and maybe kind of psychs me out, because now I want to play this deck like my Amethyst deck, but it's not geared like that. It's geared more towards like how my Ruby and Emerald deck plays. So I don't know. So I'm still working. And plus some cards, like this card, Reflection. It's a good card because I'm stacking the top of my deck, but I don't necessarily like it because, sure, I get to see, oh, okay, there's 3 cards on top of my deck. Okay, I'll put them back, and unless I've got some kind of draw power, those cards are just sitting there waiting for me next turn, not this turn. But like for Sapphire, when you play the when you play Develop Your Brain, that card, look at 2 cards, choose one, put it in your hand, put the other on the bottom of your library. That's way better than this. I would much rather draw 2 cards, pick one, put the other one on the bottom of my deck, than just go, oh, I'm going to stack the top 3 cards. it's not as good. It's not as good. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not as good. There's some other characters like this, and I know this. One cost, he's a 1/3, but he has no other ability. No other ability, no other ability, no other ability, no other ability, no other ability. Now, I have Sergeant Tibbs just because he's cool. He's a 2/2, and basically, Chip the Teacup is a 2/2. What I do like about these characters is they're 2/2. I mean, for one, they're hitting for a decent bit of damage. Now, even though characters like Merlin or Shere Khan, they can soak up that 2 damage and still be okay. And if I want to get rid of somebody like Shere Khan, I'd have to use 2 of them to get rid of 1 of him. But at the same time, that's a lot of damage. I mean, already I brought Shere Khan down to 1, so it's not too bad. So, and I'd rather use 2 of these guys to get rid of 1 of him. But ideally, I'd rather have somebody like Madam Mim for 2 who can bounce characters and take Shere Khan out all by herself, because this is a better use of 2, even though she costs 1 more, but she's way infinitely more useful. So, but that's just kind of my thoughts. Always love Sergeant Tibbs just because he's cool, and I'll always have that 1 cold foil in my deck. All right. Well, that is it. That is my look at my kind of experimental Ruby and Amethyst deck. So it's okay. And I need to test play it a little more, but I'm kind of gun shy on it. So I'll probably just put my Ruby deck back like it was, and put my Amethyst deck back like it was, and just kind of go from there. Well, I'm David Hunt, and I want to thank you very much for watching today's episode of Lorcana, Not the Meta. And I guess I'm signing out, so I want y'all to stay safe, play great games, and I'll see you real soon.